Thanks for joining us on the CBN News Channel. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. The Northeast is shifting from recovery to rebuilding after Superstorm Sandy. Authorities warn the process will take time, but power outages, travel delays, and fuel shortages have tempers wearing thin. But even in the midst of chaos, unity, as volunteers from across the country offer support, including CBN's own Operation Blessing. Frustration today in the Northeast. Nearly 2 weeks after Superstorm Sandy, more than 70,000 customers are still without power, most of them in Long Island.
It's not even anger now. Now it's like just broken people. People are being broken.
Meanwhile, New Yorkers face another day of fuel rationing. Mayor Michael Bloomberg trying to cut down on the lines at gas stations by implementing an even-odd system. That means gas is available one day to drivers with license plate numbers ending in an odd number, and the next day to plates ending in an even number.
It went a lot faster. You know, we have to do what we got to do, right?
And then there are the coastal communities, areas where homes were destroyed and in some places actually washed away. Operation Blessing is on site in those areas. Volunteers are distributing much-needed supplies, hot meals, and helping residents clean out their homes.
I never knew what you people did, and now I'm one of those people who need the help. And all these years I've donated for other people, and now I'm one of those people that needs the donation.
I thank God for Operation Blessing coming out to donate food, blankets that we so need because the supermarkets around here are very limited.
This is a case where we're actually like September 11th, where we're relying on help from others. And I'm speaking to a couple of these others right here, and you and the young men and women and your teams. So thank you.
Volunteers are coming from across the country. One group coming from Louisiana, looking to give back. When Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans back in 2005, New Jersey State Police were some of the first to help. Those Katrina victims say that help has not been forgotten.
We pay it forward. You know, you all came to us in our dire needs. Now this is a little help lagniappe from New Orleans to you all.
And there are many signs of recovery today as well. Power is restored for thousands. Many bridges and tunnels are reopening, and there is limited train and ferry service that's back up and running.
There are still many unanswered questions surrounding the resignation of CIA Director David Petraeus over an alleged extramarital affair. New details suggest a friend of Petraeus' family sparked the FBI investigation that revealed the affair and led to him stepping down last week. But congressional leaders say there are even more pressing questions in this case. Many are concerned about what the White House knew and when. And then there is the timing of Petraeus' resignation. It comes just as he was scheduled to testify about Benghazi.
At the end of the day, the one thing that has to happen, in my view, is we got to get to the bottom of Benghazi. I hate what happened to General Petraeus for his family and the families for those involved, but we have 4 dead Americans in Benghazi. We have a national security failure long in the making. I don't see how in the world you can find out what happened in Benghazi before, during, and after the attack if General Petraeus doesn't testify.
Friends say the alleged affair began a week before Petraeus became CIA director and ended 4 months ago.
The vice president of Iran says his country will break the, quote, grasping hands of the newly re-elected President Obama. Mohammad Reza Rahimi is known for hardline anti-Western statements. He also says Iran will overcome U.S.-led sanctions, which have hit his country's economy hard in the past months. Meanwhile, Iranian officials dismiss the impact of Obama's re-election. They say it will have little impact on Washington's Iran policy. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad mocked the cost of campaigning. He dubbed the vote a battleground for capitalists.
On Sunday, Israel fired a warning shot into Syria after a Syrian mortar landed in the Golan Heights.
On Sunday, Israel fired a warning shot into Syria after a Syrian mortar landed in the Golan Heights.
We understand that this was a mistake and the mortar was not meant to target Israel. And then this is why we actually fired warning shots in retaliation.
It marked the first time since the 1973 Yom Kippur War Israel had fired into Syria, and raise fears Syria's civil war will draw Israel into the conflict.
Israel will do everything that is needed in order to bring quiet and safety to the people of Israel that live in the northern part of our country.
On Israel's southern border, more than 120 rockets landed in towns like Sderot since Saturday. Some, like this rocket, scored a direct hit. Israeli officials blamed Hamas, who controls the Gaza Strip, and threatened to escalate their military response.
The Hamas terror chieftains, they cannot hide. They'll have to be a target themselves until those things are over.
While the rocket attacks shook Israeli residents, Defense Minister Ehud Barak warned Israel could launch a major operation to stop the terrorist groups. Noam Badin of the Sderot Media Center says Israeli residents have endured this situation for years.
Over a decade, that somehow became acceptable, and people are not even aware of a reality where you have rockets being fired towards civilian populations. That's the absurd.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
The BBC is facing a huge scandal over its mishandling of 2 sex abuse scandals. The head of the BBC has resigned, and now their news chief and her deputy have stepped aside. The BBC has been under pressure for covering up reports about now deceased BBC personality accused of serial child sex abuse. Police received complaints from some 300 victims, accusing BBC host Jimmy Savile of abusing them, with some of the abuse occurring on BBC premises. A British politician was also wrongly implicated in a sex abuse claim.
The story you're about to see was blacked out by France's politically correct media. What was it? A patriotic march for French values and culture and against radical Islam. Dale Hurd reports from Paris.
They chanted against Islamic fascism and about the French victory over Arab invaders in 732. It was the first march of its kind in France.
A broad coalition of groups from across France have come together because they feel like they're losing their country to radical Islam, Sharia law, and a politically correct establishment that encourages the spread of Islam.
Sharia law is slowly enforced in our countries, and we want to march here to protest against that because our government is doing nothing.
French people, they want to defend their culture, their history. They are called fascists.
I think it's not only a problem of France. It's a problem of Europe. It's a problem also of USA.
There was no visible counter-demonstration, but an egg managed to hit one reporter.
I was just hit with an egg, standing with protesters.
The march happened just weeks after a group of French young people called Generation Identitaire stormed a mosque in Tortilla and hung a banner from it, demanding a referendum on Muslim immigration. France has more Muslims than any other European nation. Some believe there could be as many as 15 million Muslims in France, although the official figure is much lower. Noted French writer Renaud Camus helped organize the march.
What I call le grand remplacement, the big replacement, the change of population, is the biggest thing which has happened in French history since 15th century.
The leftist French media ignored the demonstration, viewing it as racist, but it's clear the movement to resist radical Islam is growing in France. Dale Hurd, CBN News, Paris.
Many religious groups are unhappy with the controversial Obamacare birth control mandate. Even though there is a religious exemption in it, the problem, the administration interprets it so strictly, even some of the most religious companies in the country aren't covered. That's what Bible publisher Tyndale House argued Friday in federal court. Lawyers for the company say if Tyndale isn't covered, the religious exemption's almost laughable.
The federal government is saying that essentially all larger employers have to offer what they call preventive services for women, and they've defined that to include what we feel are services and drugs that cause abortions.
The judge said that he will issue a decision by next Friday, Friday of next week, on whether he will grant us an injunction to stop this mandate from forcing Tyndale House publishers to violate their religious beliefs.
The Obama administration insists all for-profit corporations are categorically non-religious, so cannot be exempted.
A Christian leader says Christians should view the 2012 election as a, quote, catastrophe for moral issues. Albert Mohler is president of Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, the leading seminary for the country's largest Protestant denomination. Mohler says the election reflects a trend of growing secularism in American society, and that has major consequences for moral issues. Mohler said, quote, the election of President Obama returns a radically pro-abortion president to the White House. Soon after he endorsed same-sex marriage, clearly we face a new moral landscape in America and huge challenge to those of us who care passionately about these issues. Mohler also said the president will probably have the opportunity to appoint one or more Supreme Court justices in his second term.
Church leaders in Cartagena, Colombia are taking the biblical command to pray for government leaders very seriously. Critical illnesses have shaken the leadership of Colombia, and evangelical churches have rallied in their support.
Concerned Colombians flooded this plaza in historic Cartagena after news that the city's newly elected mayor had been diagnosed with lung cancer. The bad news came as the nation's president, Juan Manuel Santos, recovers from prostate cancer surgery, and the vice president deals with the effects of a serious stroke.
We're obeying the biblical mandate that says we should pray for all the authorities. And knowing the health condition of Mayor Campo Terran and also the president and the vice president, the churches of Cartagena felt we should have special prayer for our authorities.
During the 4-hour weekend rally, city officials joined pastors and worshipers to pray for the health of their leaders and the well-being of their country. Vice President Anelino Garzón attended the event and days later announced his resignation to battle yet another health threat, prostate cancer. Church leaders are already talking about the need for more united prayer rallies in the days ahead.
So great to see the church responding with prayer. Now you can find more stories about the church around the world on our Christian World News page at cbnnews.com.
Coming up, honoring America's veterans with stories of faith and courage on the front lines.
I'm so glad we could be here for Larry.
I was surprised to hear there was no life insurance.
Funerals are so expensive. I hope Larry can afford it.
I know. That's why I'm glad I got a policy through the Colonial Penn program.
Do you think they have coverage for me? Something that'll fit into my budget?
Yes. You can get permanent coverage for less than 35 cents a day. You won't have to take a physical or answer any health questions. Plus, your cost will never go up and your coverage will never go down.
If you're between 50 and 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance life insurance for less than 35 cents a day. There are no health questions or medical exam. You cannot be turned down because of your health. So call about the Colonial Penn program and ask one of their representatives about a plan that meets your needs.
I'm definitely going to call about the Colonial Penn program.
Call 1-800-219-1201 for free information and a free gift. Call now.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now and Areva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Areva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Areva today. You'd be glad you did.
Another tragic insider killing in Afghanistan. A gunman wearing an Afghan army uniform has shot and killed a member of the U.S.-led coalition forces. It is the latest in a spate of insider attacks on coalition members by Afghan forces. Coalition figures show at least 60 coalition service members have been killed this year in 45 insider attacks. Sunday was Veterans Day, a day to remember and thank those military men and women who've served America from the Revolutionary War to today.
Historian Jane Hampton Cook has written several books on our veterans, including stories of faith and courage from the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Lee Webb spoke with her about this sacred holiday.
Red, white, and blue. You know, we take for granted the colors of our country, but you say there's significant symbolism to those colors. Tell us about that.
Yes, the Continental Congress in 1782 defined red, white, and blue. They gave meanings. Red means hardiness and valor. White means purity and innocence. And blue means vigilance, perseverance, and justice. So those colors had definitions and meanings to them.
And you write about the characteristics of those colors in the men and women who are serving today in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Absolutely. There are 22 million veterans right now living in the United States. But these veterans embody, especially those in Iraq and Afghanistan right now in our military, they embody perseverance, which is blue. They embody valor. But then the people at home embody the other part of red, which is hardiness, the ability to withstand any climate and to keep going. And so those colors they come to life today in the lives of our veterans. And one Iraqi veteran sent me an email and said that he listed all the things that he wasn't going to miss about Iraq, like wearing body armor to go to the Porta-John. But then he listed his blessings, and he counted the things that he was going to miss, like his friends. Wow. And so counting your blessings is a good way to persevere. And I think that's a good lesson to think about with Veterans Day.
You know, I think about that hardiness and the resilience. Stephen Ambrose, the late historian, wrote about the citizen soldiers of World War II and how they improvised, especially after D-Day. When something broke down, they just jumped in and fixed it. And the German soldiers really didn't know how to do the kinds of things that American soldiers did. So it's interesting that characteristic is still alive and well in today's soldiers. How do we, as civilians, embody those kinds of characteristics today in just our ordinary lives?
Well, you know, when we have to persevere through difficult times, people sometimes are down on their luck with the job market. Counting your blessings and looking at the good, that doesn't mean that you love the bad or the difficulty, but that it helps you to focus on the goodness. That lesson of perseverance, I think, is very strong today. There was even a doctor who served with George Washington, and he was tired of eating pancakes for breakfast, but he realized he needed to be grateful that he had pancakes to eat because others didn't. So it stands the test of time. Our colors translate.
It's a great thing to write about. We appreciate you doing that. As a veteran myself and as the father of an Iraq War veteran, I appreciate your contributions to this, and we appreciate it very much. And good to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll provide a link to Jane Hampton Cook's book and on our website at cbnnews.com.
Up next, in the Cascades, the scenery is picturesque, but the people living in the valley below are in constant danger. Find out why and what's being done to protect them after this.
Dear Bowflex, I dropped 8 dress sizes, 36 pounds, and all I had to do was walk.
This is the Bowflex Tread Climber Machine, the easiest way to walk and burn up to 3.5 times the calories. By combining the motion of a treadmill, a stepper, and an elliptical, you get the calorie-burning benefits of all 3 workouts at once.
I lost 30 pounds in 4 months. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Call now for your free DVD and information kit. You'll see how the Tread Climber burns up to 3.5 times the calories of a treadmill. Right now, you can own a Tread Climber machine today and get special financing for 18 months.
Within the first couple of weeks, I started to lose inches. I lost 50 pounds in 3 months using the Tread Climber. I lost 150 pounds in such a short period of time. All my friends are like, how did you do it?
To look better and feel younger, call or go online to buytc.com for your free DVD and information kit today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bowflex.
Sincerely, J.D. Weber.
Friends, Pat Boone here with an important message from Swiss America. The world's money system is very unstable now, sending the price of food, gasoline, education, healthcare, almost everything higher and higher. You know, I can remember when a cup of coffee was just 5 cents. You remember that, don't you? Today, it costs $5 for the same cup of coffee. I also remember when $20 could buy this ounce of gold. Today, it costs nearly 100 times more for the same ounce of gold. Some say gold is an ancient relic, too old-fashioned to be money anymore. Well, guess what? Now it's paper money that's seen better days. So don't put your family or your future in jeopardy. Convert your paper into gold. Call the professionals, my trusted friends at Swiss America, while you still have time. Protect your standard of living from a rising cost of living with a gold standard.
The Cascade Mountains are rife with breathtaking beauty. They also cover, though, a cauldron of hot magma that can erupt at any time, wiping out everyone and everything below.
That's right. For 100 years, scientists have monitored volcanoes in the U.S. And now, as Mark Martin reports, they're using the latest technology to keep people living in the danger zones safe.
The Cascade Mountain Range lines the upper half of the U.S. West Coast. These massive peaks, like Mount Rainier in Washington and Oregon's Mount Hood, represent some of America's greatest beauty. On the surface, that is. Underneath the rocky terrain lies destructive hot magma, because the Cascades are also active volcanoes.
But they've erupted before, and they will erupt again. And when they erupt, they will present a very real hazard to the people who live nearby.
This is also home to Mount St. Helens, the volcano that exploded violently in 1980. In minutes, the infamous eruption took the lives of 57 people, causing hundreds of millions of dollars in damage, and destroyed every living thing within 230 square miles. Still a danger today, Mount St. Helens is considered the most active volcano in the Cascades. The eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980 was a pivotal point in the science of volcanology. The massive explosion put volcano monitoring on the fast track. For example, at the time, there was only one volcano observatory in the entire U.S. Today, there are 5. They can be found in Yellowstone National Park, California, Alaska, Hawaii, and here in the Cascades.
Because St. Helens continued to erupt on and off until 1986, it became a laboratory for scientists and engineers to develop new instrumentation, to develop the computer software, the algorithms that could be used to automatically process the increasingly large amounts of data we were able to bring off the volcanoes.
John Ewart and his team gave CBN News an up-close look at the technology monitoring Mount St. Helens and the other 168 active U.S. volcanoes, of which more than half could be potentially explosive.
What these instruments allow us to do is to look at data in real time and get the data to our colleagues so we can build a more comprehensive view of what a volcano is doing during unrest.
Scientists examined 3 primary signs when forecasting eruptions. How much a volcano is shaking because of earthquakes or vibrations due to fluid, if it's swelling or changing shape because of magma pushing on its sides, and the amount and types of volcanic gases it's sending out.
It's important because ultimately volcanic gases drive volcanic eruptions. And so understanding volcanic gases is fundamental to understanding volcanic activity.
Today's equipment is much more sensitive to that activity and portable, allowing it to go where people cannot. Take, for instance, the Spider.
Well, it's really nice because we set it down with a helicopter so we can really get it close to a volcano where we have a really high signal without all the noise from towns and such.
That noise gets closer, however, as the deceptively picturesque scenery lures new residents, leading to the growth of area towns and population centers.
In the Cascades as a whole, the one that we worry about the most is Mount Rainier because of the number of people living in the valleys on the west side.
Look at all the homes pictured here at the base of Mount Rainier. If you think they're safe, think again. Geophysicist Andy Lockhart says an eruption can send deadly mud flows or lahars filled with rock, sand, and water at high speeds down the mountain across a great distance, destroying everything in their paths. He believes a lahar brought this massive boulder to its resting place 10 to 15 miles from Mount Hood near Portland, Oregon, after it last erupted around 200 years ago. Just across the street, a population center. Lockhart interprets this as a warning that what happened in the past can happen again.
I didn't see the eruption of St. Helens in 1980, but I was at the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines in 1991. And it's just like having a hole blown in your world. It was just so much bigger and faster than anything I'd ever seen.
I'm here in the town of Government Camp, which is only about 5 miles from the summit of Mount Hood. When scientists determine the risk of a particular area, they most definitely consider developments like this, which are so close to the mountain.
Some of the highest threat volcanoes we have in the United States, actually the majority of the highest threat volcanoes. And that's because we have so many people and infrastructure nearby.
And that, according to Ewert, puts the pressure on for greater accuracy in predictions and also improved monitoring technology. Scientists also urge residents to consider potential hazards, even hidden ones, before choosing where they live. Mark Martin, CBN News, the Pacific Northwest.
You have to count the cost if you want to live in such a beautiful place.
I tell you, I'm thinking just weigh the beauty and the potential disaster.
Yeah.
Glad people are monitoring.
Definitely. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for the Sticky Buddy, the sticky roller that has the power of glue without the goo. Use it on all types of fabrics, even silk and suede, and doesn't leave a sticky residue. Sticky Buddy's little rubber fingers reach deep into your carpet and get things your vacuum cleaner hasn't seen in years. Then when it's full and dirty, just rinse it, dry it, and it's sticky all over again. Cats and dogs will love you even more if you use it as a pet brush. The Sticky Buddy normally sells for $20. It comes with a cover, so it stays nice and clean and has a lifetime guarantee. You'll also get the detail size. Take it with you. It'll be there when you need it. It even has a corner detailer with the same rubber fingers that gets into nooks and crannies. Be one of the first to call, and you'll get both for $10. But order right now, and you can double the value. That's 2 sets of Sticky Buddies for $10.
Call 1-800-601-7204 and pick up your Sticky Buddy. But hurry, call now. We're giving away a special offer on a second set of Sticky Buddies with all orders today. That's 1-800-601-7204. Call now.
How can you get a crispy restaurant tortilla bowl, but without frying it in oil, grease, and fat?
Just do what I do. Hi, Mark Gill here with the perfect tortilla pan. The fast, easy way to shape, bake, and create delicious tortilla bowls. Place any tortilla into the non-stick pan, pop it in the oven, and in just 5 minutes, perfect tortilla bowls that are always golden and crispy. Fill them with steak and peppers for a crunchy fajita bowl. Perfect Tortilla Pan's exclusive design works with all tortilla sizes, forming a deep-shaped, edible bowl. Plus, it's all dishwasher safe. We'll send you not 1, but 2 for just $10. Call right this minute and we'll double your order free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Every caller today will receive our cutting cup to slice, dice, chop, mince, and measure as it cuts. Yep, you get it all for just $10. To order Perfect Tortilla for $10 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-301-7829 or order online at buyperfecttortilla.com.
Finally, at the height of Hurricane Sandy, New York's Long Beach Fire Department lost 3 of its 4 engines.
But now some Louisiana firefighters are on the scene to help and return a gift that had first been donated to them, a fire truck.
We got to come up and help our friends, you know.
After 9/11, a Louisiana truck company donated the rig to New York City. Then, when Hurricane Katrina hit, the city returned it. Now it's come full circle. The Louisiana Fire Department donated it back to New York. Cool. Very nice. Nice to see people working to help.
I just love to see all the unity and people working together for the common good.
Indeed.
Well, that's going to do it for now on the CBN News Channel. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Have a marvelous Monday. Happy Veterans Day as well.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now and Areva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Areva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Areva today. You'll be glad you did.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.